Welcome to Varsity Voices Football. I'm Jeff DiVeronica. He's James Johnson, here to talk about another championship game. This one is Friday night at Rhino Stadium. The top two seeds have made it through, and it's a rematch from earlier in the season, won by top-seeded Greece Athena, 28-21. But Brighton, James, they are coming in with a bunch of confidence after, I can't say shutting down Eastridge because they gave up 36 points, but the Brighton offense put up 50 points, beating Eastridge 50-36 last week. Very impressive game for sure last week.
Yeah, absolutely. We saw what they were about, a good running game, and then a passing game that could pop out of nowhere.
Speaking of the defense and the running game, let's take a look at some of those highlights last week. For Brighton, of course, Athena also did win 28-7 over Canandaigua. But let's look at these Brighton Barons first, because we're going to start with some defense here. And he was a beast on offense. Certainly, Jason Cunningham impressed you, impressed me, impressed everybody. 220 yards rushing, 27 carries. But that's a sack to start there. Here he goes. Now, there was something you told me after this game that you thought he threw a little fright into the boys from Eastridge.
Carrying the ball, having to carry, stop a 225-pound running back over and over again. After a while, it seemed like he got the sense that they were less than eager to tackle him anymore.
And they went to the well. 27 carries, 220 rushing yards, 3 touchdowns for Cunningham. You just saw a big run there from Shea McDonald for the score. And now here's some of these Athena highlights. Boy, Kenny Speed, what a day, what a season he has had. James, last week, 4 catches for 157 yards. What a weapon is he?
Yeah, absolutely. Plus, he goes into these playoffs with a little bit of determination. He's been on a couple of playoff teams at Athena that have fallen short. He wants to change it around.
That pass right there didn't fall short. Look at Granison fire that in to Mr. Benham, Kyle Benham, hauls in a touchdown pass. Great throw, and then it's more from Tavon Granison. He was fantastic last week in that win. They fell behind early, came back, James, but he was 11 of 18, 238 yards, 3 touchdown runs, 1 touchdown pass. He is such a weapon. We've talked about it all year long. I happen to think he's the best player on the field, and we talked about this last week, and we were wrong, Brighton. We were off. We weren't on your bandwagon last week. We both thought Eastridge was going to win. Yeah. Please accept our apologies. But I'm not picking you this week either. I'm sorry, Brighton. James, we talked about this off camera too. They're playing the top seed, the team that beat them. Yeah. The best player in the field, I think, is the quarterback for Greece Athena. Yeah. How do you see this matchup playing?
I predict another close game. Brighton's going to make a good use out of its strong running game. Athena's offense, it can get going, but it can hit some dead spots at times. I predict a close game. A
close game. We'll see what Coach, again, I'm not on the bandwagon. I was on the bandwagon for about 72 hours, and then as I thought more about the matchup, off the bandwagon. Coach Steve Lian is going to talk to us now from Brighton. Tell us what he thinks about that Athena attack.
Well, for them, it begins and ends with Tavon, him on offense and all those weapons he has to go to. I mean, no one stopped him yet, so we just got to put our best foot forward and find a way to contain him a little bit and limit the big plays. Defensively, they're just a really sound group. Their defensive ends are tough. Their backers fly around, so we got our hands full for sure. They held us, to 21 the first time we played them, and that was one of our lower point totals, if not the lowest, I think, all season. So I don't know. I also didn't know that the Eastridge game was going to turn out to be the way it was. So who knows? We're just going to do what we do, run the ball, and see what happens.
You heard it right there from the coach. He thinks Athena has all these weapons, and they certainly do. Yeah. I think this whole thing is predicated on the Brighton defense. Can Brighton contain Tavon Granison and that dynamic offense for the Trojans? I think it's all up to the Brighton defense.
Yeah, specifically the defensive line, which did very well last week. I think they hold the key.
And also that running game and Cunningham moving the chains, keeping the ball away from Athena is going to be important. And like I told Coach last week, Coach Lian, I'm sure the Barons will be happy that we just keep picking against them all the way to the Carrier Dome, right?
Of course, of course.
This is 8 o'clock on Friday night at Rhino Stadium. The Class A football championship, Brighton against Athena, should be a dandy. We'll see you there. And thanks for watching us right here at DemocratandChronicle.com on Varsity Voices Football.